Shalom. Yahweh Shamar, Lathabah Shem Yahweh Shah, to all the sisters. My name is Priest and Officer Natazaga Bar with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. This is Priest and Officer Kazak Shapar, and we are not affiliated with with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yahanna. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. If it's not in the ISUPK under Commander General Yahanna, you are not in the truth. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, Barakatah, a todos mis carnales. Shalom, Yahweh Shamar Alatah Shem Yahweh Shah, a todos mis carnales. Soy la oficial Natazaga Bar, la oficial Kazak Shapar, de la Escuela Israelita de Conocimiento, Conocimiento Práctico Universal, Comenzo en la calle 125 Oeste de Harlem, Nueva York. Bajo el mando del General Yahanna, nosotras no estamos afiliadas a ningún otra grupo israelita. Si no estás en el ISUPK bajo el mando del General Yahanna, estás en la verdad. You understand? Today we bringing in the Feast of PURIM. You understand? Which is it's very fitting for the times that we're living in right now. You understand? Given all of the moves that our oppressor is making against the 12 tribes, you understand? It's real fitting that even during the times of Esther, which we're going to get into in a second, that during the time of Esther, you know what I mean, there were people that were making moves against our people even then. You understand? But of course, the Lord was with us, and the Lord protected us even in this time when our enemies was moving against us. You understand? And as a result of that, we now celebrate PURIM.
Right.
You understand? So we're going to be starting in the book of Esther, chapter 9, starting in verse 20, if you want to follow along.
I'm concept. Esther 9 and 20, the King James Version of the Bible. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all of the Jews that were in all the provinces and the King Ahasuerus, both nigh and far.
So Mordecai, you understand? Mordecai, you can say Mordecai was like the high priest. You understand? Mordecai, sent out letters, basically made a decree out amongst all Israel. You understand? Much like how Commander General Yahanna made a decree out of all Israel for all Israel to come together.
Right.
You understand? So Mordecai, he sent out a decree amongst all Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 21, to establish this among them.
To do what?
To establish this among them.
To establish this among them, meaning that we are now going to take this and add this as a part of our culture. You understand? This is now going to be how we're going to move forward. This is what we're going to recognize. Go ahead.
That they should keep the 14th day of the month of Adar, the 15th day of the same yearly.
You understand? So that will be today. You understand? We were looking at a Hebrew calendar. Go ahead.
Verse 22, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was returned unto them from sorrow to joy.
Read that again from the top.
As the Jews wherein the Jews rested from their enemies.
From who?
From their enemies.
From our brothers.
From their enemies.
From our neighbors.
From their enemies.
From my friends.
From their enemies.
You understand? So I want to drill something in your mind about this Bible. This Bible is not about religion. It's not about Christianity. It's not a book that you read to make you feel good. You understand? It's a history and a culture and the laws of a people who are the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's right.
And it's the rise and the fall and the triumphing of the these people over their enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? That's what this Bible is all about. That's what salvation is all about.
That's right.
You understand? What you know, it used to trip me out. I remember growing up as a kid, you know, going to church and people used to be like, I'm saved. And I used to sit there and wonder, like, saved from what? You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? It's like when I leave out of here from getting saved, I'm still going back to the trap house and I'm going to bust down this weed pack. Right. And I'm still going to be selling this weed. You know what I mean? I'm still going to be selling these drugs, even though I just profess Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. So I'm saved, but I'm saved from what? Because I'm still in the way of my enemy. Right. You understand? I'm out here selling these illicit products. You understand? Then all it takes is for my enemy to see me with it. Next thing you know, I'm going down. Go ahead.
It's like, sir, if I may. It sounds like they were saved from that particular week, and from week to week they come say the same old thing. Well, I made it out of trap house. I'm saved from that time, and that's they want to get out of that being saved every week syndrome. That's what they're trying to think, that they're saved every week.
Right.
You know,
right.
Instead of that's what it sounds like something ridiculous. You know,
like a stripper getting saved.
Right.
You know, she saved, but she right back on the pole on Monday.
Every week.
You ain't get saved from that pole.
Right.
You still under the oppression. You still getting oppressed. Right. So what is salvation? You understand? So this idea of salvation that we believed in all of our lives was it was manufactured by our oppressor during slavery. You understand? That was the dream that they sold our people to keep us as good slaves. You understand? How can you know what I mean? How can I put it like this? It was pimping. You understand? They were selling us a dream. You understand? And the dream was you live your life and don't stir up too much trouble and just work, and don't talk back to your master. And then when you die, you're going to get 40 acres in a mule in heaven. Pie in the sky. Get you a pie in the sky. You understand? You're going to live in a mansion in the sky. You understand? Get hugged by white Jesus. And then finally, you're going to be loved by white people when you die. That's basically what it seemed like. It seemed like when you die, you're gonna finally be loved by white people. Mm. You know what I mean? When you've been hated by them your whole life, you're gonna die and be loved by the same people that hate you. It don't make sense to me. You understand? But that was the dream that they sold slaves. You understand? That they forced on us. Because not everybody believed that. You understand? There was ones of us who would tie headbands around their head and sneak off in them caves and be breaking down these scriptures, knowing that they Israelites. You understand? But the problem was when they would get found out, they would burn our eyes out. Right. You understand? They would cut our heads off. They would hang us from trees just from doing what we're doing right now. You understand? Learning the truth about who we are. You understand? So during slavery, you understand, this whole idea of salvation, you never find in the Bible. But here we're reading about salvation. Right. You understand? And the salvation is not a pie in the sky. Salvation is not some euphoric experience that you feel when you die. You understand? Salvation is when you are delivered out of the hand of your enemy. Right. You understand? Like, salvation is like almost like parole out of prison. That is salvation. You understand? Not saying that, getting parole is because you're still under parole. You still, you know what I mean? You can violate parole, but to get what I'm saying, like if you get a pardon from the government, that's more like salvation according to the Bible than what you experience when you die. You understand? Same thing happens to everybody when they die. They go before the Father, they get judged, then they come right back out right back into the world to serve their judgment. You understand? So whether it be, you know what I mean, you get born into a rich family and live life on Easy Street, or you get born with one eye, one leg in the hood, and your mama a crackhead. You know what I mean? Just you know, depending on how you choose to handle the stick. You know what I mean? Read on.
Verse 22. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning to unto good day.
And that's heavy right there. Where it says, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy.
Right.
You understand? Our lives are filled with sorrow. You understand? Our lives are filled with sorrow. I was working on a brother's garment last night, and all I just kept thinking about was how much sorrow we suffer as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans under this oppression.
Right.
You understand? I got to thinking about all the friends that I had in middle school, and how many friends I lost to gun violence just between middle school and high school. And then all of the friends that I had that didn't even survive high school. You understand? And then thinking about the friends that I had that didn't survive the college years. You understand? And then I remember back in the world when I celebrated birthdays. After a while, it's like so much was happening in life, I just didn't even care about birthdays anymore. But on my 25th birthday, I was chilling with one of my big homies, and he said, "Man, you turned 25 today, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you blessed." So I'm like, "Well, why you say that?" So I'm like, "I'm blessed, but I'm still dealing with the same old shit." You know, excuse my language, but how am I blessed? He said, "Man, 50% of black men don't live to see 25. So if you live to see 25, you blessed." And I sat back and I thought about it. And I was like, damn. You know what I mean? I think about all the funerals I went to before I graduated high school. You understand? The people I was once hooping with on the court, slap boxing with in the street. 2 weeks later, I'm at their funeral.
Right.
You understand? That's a sorrow that our oppressor cannot relate to. That's a sorrow that the Chinese man cannot relate to. That's a sorrow the Arab man, the African man, the East Indian man, nobody can relate to that type of sorrow. That's how you know that we are the 12 tribes. We ain't the cursed seed of Canaan. We ain't no Canaanites. We ain't no Africans. We are God's chosen people.
Right.
You understand? And we are being oppressed by the devil, the Bible speaks of.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And we've had many oppressors throughout history. But this particular oppressor, the Bible calls him the devil.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And he's the worst of them. You understand? That's another sign how you know that we are at the end. You understand? Well, our oppression is about to be over with.
Right.
You understand? And that day of sorrow is going to turn into a day of joy. You understand? And then that day, and then our day of joy is going to turn into our oppressor's day of sorrow. Because we're going to celebrate when we see them chariots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I know I am. I'm going to be on the chariot drunk. Yes, I'm going to be chasing my rib around, drunk out my mind.
If I can, sir, real quick. You know, this is our celebration of Persian captivity.
Right.
And it just so happened that Haman, an Edomite, Hermaphrodite, what is his name? Yeah. Hermaphrodite, Agadite, just happened to be Esau,
Right.
oppressing us all over again in the Persian Empire. We couldn't get away from them. So we still getting it. Even back in this day, Esther days, here come the white man doing it all over again.
And it go to show you about that book, what it says in the book of Obadiah, that our oppressor has had a perpetual hatred for the 12 tribes of Israel. That's how you know, because even in Assyrian captivity, they still were, how can I word this? the Assyrian captivity wasn't as cruel as our current captivity. The Assyrian captivity, you understand, they knew that they was Jews.
Right.
They practiced as Jews, kept the Jewish laws, like the Hebrew laws and everything, kept Israelite customs and cultures, didn't lose our language, didn't lose our names, didn't lose none of that. In fact, you understand, like during the Assyrian captivity, there was certain what's the word I'm looking for? Not compromises, but
Concessions.
What's the word I'm looking for? Accommodations
Concessions.
that were made during the Assyrian rulership to accommodate the Jews.
Yeah.
You understand? But in America, you know what I mean, even right here with Haman tried to have us wiped out the planet.
That's right.
He tried to get the Assyrians to wipe us out.
Right.
You understand? All because one man refused to bow down to a king like a god.
Right.
Because one man was trying to keep God's law. He tried to commission for all of them to get wiped out. But what ended up happening in the end? What ended up happening in the end was his head ended up on the chopping block. You understand? The Edomite ended up getting executed.
Right.
You understand? It all fell right back on his head.
Right.
Which goes with the scripture where it says like what is it talking about? I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember what scripture it is, but if you right with the Lord, you know, whatever enchantment they try to put on you, it's just gonna fall right back on them.
When a man's ways please the Lord,
yeah,
even his enemies are peace with him.
No, not that one.
I see. I should say.
I can't remember what it is, but it's basically like I guess it's talking about enchantments. Like if somebody try to cast a spell on you,
okay,
you understand, and you right with the Lord, that spell instead of falling on you, it's gonna fall right back on them. The Lord gonna make sure. So he tried to have us executed on some sneaky, on some you know, just like a devil would. He but it was like he in, you know, playing politics with it in the king's court, trying to commission the king to execute, to wipe us all out.
Just like a devil.
Yeah, just like a devil. You understand? Just like Donald Trump trying to do to our brothers, our Hispanic brothers, trying to wipe us all out. You understand? And it fell right back on his head. You understand? And that's an important thing to think about when we in the ISUPK, when we living our lives amongst these devils. When we go into our slavery, these devils is gonna try to get you fired.
That's right.
They're gonna try to snake you to the boss, man. They're gonna try to do everything they can because they just hate. There's a scripture I wrote out in class the other day. I can't remember what scripture it was, but they just hate just seeing you live. Like just breathing the same air, just breathing air. They just hate to just see you just take a deep breath and relax. It just, you know what I mean? Like they just hate to see it. Like they just, like if you just having a good day, if you just got a smile on your face, they just hate to just. It just boils in their soul. Like if they see your kids running around having fun, they just hate your little kids. Like,
all the time.
All the time. They just hate it. You know what I'm saying? Even the ones that fake the phone and act like they just all so progressive and stand for black people and black righteousness. When you put them to the test, they're gonna always choose their own.
Let me read that text, Ezekiel, perpetual hatred.
Yeah. Go ahead and read that.
Okay, Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou had a perpetual hatred, thou hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword in the time of calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
You understand? Yeah. Our oppressor, he's had a perpetual hatred against us. And there was a time period where the Lord left the door open for us to be punished. And then there's a time period where he was supposed to stop.
Right.
You understand? But our oppression did not stop.
Stop.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I believe it's in Obadiah where it says if the grape gatherers came to gather grapes, would they not take enough? You understand? Our oppressor don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like a thief, if he broke in your house, he gonna take his field and he up out of there. Our oppressor ain't gonna do that.
Right.
He gonna come and he gonna take until he got nothing left to take but your life. You understand? And he gonna take that too. You understand? Go ahead.
If thieves came to rob, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they have not stolen till they had enough?
See,
If the grape gathered come to thee, would they not leave some grapes?
see, in the book of Esther, we was already slaves. We was already slaves. We was already second-class citizens. You gotta genocide us too. like we
Right.
gotta die too.
Right.
We already oppressed.
Uh,
Like that's the thing. Like about the Hispanics, right? They already working for $2 an hour.
Right.
They got to live under threat of deportation too. It cost them $20,000 to get here. It cost them their life savings.
wow.
And then here's a reality that a lot of people don't understand about them coming over here. That's not a walk in the park.
Mm.
That ain't like you moving from South Carolina to Chicago.
Mm.
You understand? I'm talking about this is, first of all, there's a long stretch of desert along that border. As soon as you cross over, what is it, the Rio Grande? As soon as they cross over the Rio Grande, there's about 30 miles of desert that is infested with, what do they call them? What kind of rattlesnakes are they? I think it's diamondback rattle. Is it diamondback?
Might be diamondback.
The diamondback rattlesnakes, whatever the big one is, the biggest one. I'm talking rattlesnakes the size of pythons. You understand? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being 5 years old, walking through the desert? This is a reality. You know, yeah, I'm making it up, but I guarantee you this has happened. A 5-year-old child walking with their mama or their father. You understand? And then their father get bit in the leg by one of them rattlesnakes. He might make it a mile, 2 miles, and then he dropped dead. Now you 5 years old in the middle of the desert, surrounded by rattlesnakes by yourself. That's reality. That's what a lot. They talk about the ones that get here. They don't talk about the ones that don't make it here. There's a large portion of our people that don't make it, just trying to get here. You understand? They already have to go through that. Then when they get here, they get a job. The first couple of jobs they get, and they making $2. They making a fraction of. I remember back when I was younger, I worked at this hotel, and I remember me and the maintenance man got real cool. His name was Francisco, and I remember back then I was making maybe like $9 an hour, and I know that the head maintenance man was making about like $12, $13 an hour. And so Francisco, I asked him what he made an hour. This man said he made $2.50 an hour.
Damn. Yeah.
And he got paid under the table because he was undocumented. I'm like, damn, man, how you survive off of that? He just like, oh, I buy beer, I go. That's all he said. You know what I mean? But the thing is that they already going through that. They are, and then not only that, but this is what I never understood. You got all these Chinese businesses open up every other day, especially if you go down to Atlanta. Go to certain parts outside and around Atlanta, like Norcross, Lawrenceville. I remember in Norcross, there's a huge Hispanic population. All the Hispanic restaurants are owned by Chinese people. All of them. The chicken wing spots owned by Chinese people. That's why they got the hot wings and fried rice. I never heard of that combo. hot wings and fried rice until I went down to Atlanta. You know what I mean? They you get buffalo wings and fried rice. Because the Chinaman, he come over here, he getting business loans, starting businesses. They got whole neighborhoods to themselves where they build houses from the ground up. You ride through you don't even see them neighborhoods on the map. You understand? You pull up in them neighborhoods and you gonna see nothing but Chinese people living in nice neighborhoods. You understand? It's like that in Greenville. Right around Greenville, you're gonna see some little road. Seem like it don't go nowhere. Turn down that road, and it's gonna cut a corner behind some trees, and you're gonna see a whole neighborhood back there, brand new houses. Ain't nothing but Chinese people standing back there. And guess what they driving? Aston Martins, Teslas, you understand? Land Rovers, you understand? And don't even speak English. But yet, you got Hispanic brothers and sisters coming over here, even with a work visa. If they come over here and get a work visa, they can't even get lines of credit. You can't even establish credit. So they come over here and they working. You talking about picking yourself on your bootstraps? Man, they picking themselves up from their toenails. You understand? And if they want to buy a house, they can't go get a loan to go buy a house. They got to all come together, work for $2.50 an hour. You understand? And maybe get a job where they get paid competitively. You understand? Get a work visa, then they can start getting paid more. You understand? But then you got people that gatekeep the whole work visa thing. And so with all these hoops they got to go through, you understand? Just to eat, just to live. You understand? And you gonna go and want to lock them up in Guantanamo Bay? You understand? Like, and then here's the thing. Like the generals brought out Monday. You understand? This woman was talking about how her family, her husband got 1,000-acre farm, cattle farm, and 1,000-acre cattle farm. 75% of the employees Hispanics. Donald Trump got elected, started deporting Issachar. None of them showed up to work. Whole state about to go bankrupt because
That's
that
Nebraska, I believe.
Nebraska, yeah. Right. The whole state, and I'm with the general. I'm about to pull up in my pickup truck in a deep freeze back of the junk. Go give me some steak. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to stock up for the winter. You understand? But that's because they had a perpetual hatred against us. Right. You understand? We already living in conditions that they could never even, they wouldn't survive half of the things our people go through. You understand? They wouldn't survive half of it. You understand? That's why they got parts of Texas that they ain't even tried to build up. Like you got land right now in Texas, you can buy $50. $50 an acre. You understand? They got land like that right now in Texas. I know. I looked it up. I thought about buying some. You understand? But they ain't trying to do that. They ain't trying to handle that. That's why when they came down here and when they was building up Charleston, when they started growing that rice down there in Charleston, they wasn't thinking I'm gonna go out there in that what's it called? What's that thing called? It ain't a swamp. What do they call that?
Charleston?
Yeah. The marsh. They wasn't gonna go out there in the marshland and plant that rice. You understand? So what they did, they came over and they grabbed up. They went to them African tribes, the Ashanti and the Limba and the Igbo tribes, and said, "Man, you know who you know around here that grow the best rice?" So you talking about them Jews over there? The Jews all they grow is rice. You understand? They grow rice 12 months out the year. All the way around the clock, they grow rice. They've been growing rice since they was in Egypt. You understand? Because we lived on the Nile Delta. You understand? rice was big business in Israel. You understand? And so, a lot of people think Chinese man the one famous for rice. Nah, Chinese man don't know as much about growing rice as the 12 tribes.
Right.
You understand? And so they went over there and they grabbed up Jews. Basically, the Ashanti and the Igbo and the Limba tribes rounded up the Jews. They went and was busting people across the head, kidnapping people, rounding them up and selling them to our oppressor wholesale. You understand? They was selling us to our oppressor wholesale. They was kidnapping us, kidnapping our kids, kidnapping our wives, kidnapping us. You understand? They was just rounding us up and selling us wholesale. You understand? And that's how, and that's what the oppressor do. He ain't going out here and doing it himself. You understand? He getting everything he can by the sword. You understand? So, yeah, I mean, go ahead.
And as the Jews undertook to do as they begun, as Mordecai had written unto them.
Read on.
Because Haman, the son of the Hammedatha, and the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews.
The enemy of who?
All the Jews.
The enemy of just one Jew.
All the Jews.
See, that's the thing that we need to understand about our oppressor. You understand? That's why it's so dangerous for some of us to love the oppressor and tell the ones that understand we wrong. We got to love our oppressor. Why we got to love? They don't. When they make an enemy out of us, they ain't just a group of us. They make an enemy. They make an enemy of all of us. I mean, you too. While you sit there at their cookout, guess what? That race war kick off. You can go to their cookout if you want to. They're gonna be eating that pulled pork, dancing around your corpse, swinging from the tree. You understand? Not us though. You know what I'm saying? Read on.
And had cast pure, that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them.
So it means that he was basically putting his bid in. He's making a case to get us wiped out. He argued to get us wiped out. He argued in court. Like he was trying to sell it to the king. You understand? And he put his best foot forward to try to get us wiped out. You understand? That's what our oppressors do, man. Like, and that's what happens in these Congress meetings. This is the thing, right? I remember one time, this was back when me and my friends had just opened up a studio. And so, it was a struggle getting the studio off the ground because overhead was so high. The rent alone was like $1,600 a month. Then we had a radio station we was trying to get off the ground, and we was trying to film a movie, which wasn't bringing in no money. That was all out of pocket. So it was a huge struggle. So I'm eating oodles and noodles and beans and rice. You know what I'm saying? Every day, that's all I'm eating. Because we struggling. We didn't even have cable. So I used to watch C-SPAN. I wasn't going to watch Wendy Williams. I wasn't going to watch, MTV. I couldn't watch BET half the time. So all I would watch was C-SPAN. And I would watch C-SPAN and I would watch them pass laws or try to pass laws that, I would be sitting here thinking like, how is this not major news right now? Like they tried to pass something one time. I remember it was called the Internet. It was like the Internet Preservation Act or something like that. And they tried to pass this in Congress, and they almost passed it. Like I think they needed like 2 or 3 more votes in order for it to pass, but it didn't pass. I think it's called the Internet Censorship Act or something. What they were basically trying to do is they were trying to censor the internet. They were trying to pass a bill, meaning that if your website was not a narrative that America wanted pushed, they were going to shut it down. You understand? I think it was called the Internet Preservation Act or something like that. But I remember them campaigning for it, and the only place you could see it was on C-SPAN. If you wasn't sitting there watching that 24-hour feed of Congress when they in there voting on bills, you wouldn't have knew nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So in C-SPAN, when they sit there and they going in there and they watching these, they passing these laws, that's what Haman was doing. You understand? Read on.
But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that the wicked device which he devised against the Jews should return upon his own head.
Now this right here, these Edomites will never do this. You understand? That like this is why, you know what I mean? And think about this. The one who was trying to make this happen was an Edomite. That's the nature of Esau.
That's right.
The nature of Esau is to wipe us off the planet. You understand? That's the nature of him. You understand? That's how the Holocaust happened. You know what I'm saying? That's how the Native American genocide happened. Because his nature is to wipe us out. That's his nature. Read on.
That, if I could say, that same Haman was kin to them Agagites who the Most High told Saul to wipe up the face of the map, take no spoils. And here you can tell one of them left over there, right there. So Saul did not do what he's supposed to do. But when Esther, but when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that the wicked device which he devised against the Jews should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
Him and his son. And see, that right there is heavy. You understand? Because you got so many Edomites talking about, oh, well, I didn't do nothing about slavery. I shouldn't be punished for what my forefathers did. But guess what? That argument ain't gonna matter at all when that judgment comes. You understand? You can say that all you want to. You understand? But you're gonna get down in that hole and you're gonna dig.
Right. Exactly right. Verse 26. Wherefore they called this days Purim. And wherefore they called these days Purim, after the same of pure, whatever. Therefore all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them. Verse 27, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon the seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they should keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to the appointed time every year. 28. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
Read on.
Verse 29. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abigail, and Mordecai, the Jew, wrote with authority to confirm this second letter of Purim. Verse 30. And he said, and he sent the letters unto all the Jews, to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ashurus, with the words of peace and truth. Verse 31, to confirm these days of Purim in their time appointed, according to Mordecai, the Jew, and Esther, the queen, had enjoined them. And as they decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fasting and their crying. Verse 32, and the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.
You know what I'm saying? And with that, we say, "Come out of one, come." You understand? And we're going to rock out Purim. You know what I'm saying? We're going to eat this good food in honor of what happened, you know what I mean, when you know what I mean, and the works that Mordecai did, and the works that our sister Esther did, and ultimately what the Lord did, turning that recompense on our enemies. You understand? We pray that the Lord continue to turn these curses back on our enemies.
Mhm.
You understand? And with that, we the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York. I'm the commander, Yahanna. And that concludes our class for this evening. Shalom.